cell structure and function. The structure and functions of the cell. Cell in sense the structure of the cell, structure of the cell organelles, and the functions of a cell, the functions of a cell organelles, along with the type of biomolecules or the chromosomes, structure of chromosomes, the movement of chromosomes, functions of the chromosomes, all that will be the part, including the cell division will be the part of cell biology. In that cell biology part, the first part includes the cell structure and function. So here we know that. So let's come to the introduction or the basic unit of life. So which one is called, what is called as a basic unit of life means the cell is considered as the basic unit of life. So why it is so called as, why cell is called as basic unit of life means, consider if a living organism. So that living organism, we say that that is performing so and so functions. So actually that living organism is performing the functions means the basic units of that living organism, those are cells. Each and every cell is performing that particular specific function. So that's why we call the cell as a basic unit of life. And cell is considered as a structural and functional unit. That is whatever the structure acquired by an organism is because of the cells and their arrangement, and whatever the function performed by a living organism is because of the functions performed by the cell. So likewise we say that basic unit of life is a cell. And here what is a cell and how it is exhibiting all these specific characters means, so we know that each and every living organism is cellular, but there are some living organisms which are acellular also, like in viruses. Like if a living organism or if a organism is having a life or if it is existing with a life means without a cellular structure it can't exist with a life. So but only exceptional case is the viruses. Of course viruses we call them as a connecting link, so but it is not a perfect thing to be considered here. Then cell, each and every cell have the capability of independent existence, capacity of independent existence, and it is concerned with performing all the cellular activities, capacity to perform all cellular activities. So because of these two characters also we can say that cell is a basic unit of life, and cells are called as building blocks of a living organism. So they have been organized to form into a complete structure or complete body of an plant or a animal. And life of any living organism will start with one cell. Like if you take an multicellular organism or a unicellular organism, the life of that living organism will start with one cell called as zygote. So that will undergo, if that is undergoing repeated division, it may be converted into a multicellular organism. But if it is a unicellular organism, the zygote will remain as like, and it will undergo some changes in its structure and forms new organs and new structures, but it will perform all the functions as like that of an multicellular organism. So likewise we can observe many different types of plants which may be either unicellular or sometimes they may be multicellular also. So unicellular, like lower organisms we can say, like Chlamydomonas, Euglena, amoeba. So as these organisms are made up of only one cell, it is not like that it can't perform some functions. It will perform all the functions for the survival of that living organism. So that that functions are performed by either it may be a unicellular or a multicellular organism. Of course many higher organisms are there which are multicellular, starting from the some of the algal members to highly developed angiosperms, and in animals also, like human beings, like if you take any other animal where they are made up of many cells. Likewise, the deviation can be seen based on the number of cells in the living organism. All the activities related to a cell are present in the form of miniature, or the cellular activities which are existing in the cell contains all the activities in the miniature form. All the activities are present in a miniature form inside a cell. So, like miniature form is each and every aspect of the functions are performed in a cell, so that we consider the functions performed by the plant or a animal. So, likewise we say that each and every cell have the potentiality or capability to perform all the functions of an living organism. And if it is coming to the higher plants, where sometimes we can see the division of labor also. What do you mean by the division of labor related to the plants means, related to the cells is, there are some cells which are present in some particular specific regions of the plant or animal. They acquire or they will perform some specific function related to that organ. So that if the similar type of cells are present in some other parts of the plant body or animal body, they will perform some other different type of function. So, likewise they are dividing the functions according to the place where they are present inside the organism. That is called as a division of labor. Let us take a small example here. You might be knowing about parenchyma tissue present in the plants. So, here majority of the plant body is made up of parenchyma cells only, and if the parenchyma cells are present in the mesophyll of the leaf, they are concerned with photosynthesis. Major function is photosynthesis, and if they are present in fruit wall, they are concerned with storage of food materials. If they are present in the cortex of the stem or the root, they are concerned with the conduction. Like the same parenchyma present in different parts, they are performing different functions. So, that type of nature variation can be seen in the functions performed by the cells. So, we call them as a division of labor, and different types of functions are performed by different types of cells. Like let us take the example of xylem tissue, which is concerned with conduction of water and mineral salts, whereas phloem cells, they are concerned with conduction of food materials, organic food materials, and like that means the type of cells are different and the type of functions are also different. So, likewise the division of the functions is also be there based on the type of cells. Likewise we call them as a division of labor. And apart from this one, basically we say that the life of any living organism is starting with a cell, like, and that particular first primary cell that will start dividing to form into a group of cells called as tissue, and tissue with some particular organization, we call them as tissue systems, and this tissue system will form into an organ. Sometimes they may form into organ systems also. And into a complete organism. So, from the simplest to the or basic structure to the complex or the overall structure of an organism. If we take at any level, so the basic thing we are going to discuss are the part of that structure is having the cell. So, it may be a cell, a tissue system, organ system, or if it is a animal, the parts of an animal. So, and all the parts of the animal will form into organism. So, at any level if we take, the basic thing that we are concerned with that structure is the cell. Then discovery related to the cells. So, the first time the cells have been discovered by Robert Hooke scientist. So, he had observed the slices of cork tissue under the microscope or the lens actually to be said. So, here observed that some sort of honeycomb like structures. So, where we can see this type of empty spaces. So, this type of organization have been first time identified by the Robert Hooke scientist, and here these are the empty spaces that was observed by the scientist. Empty spaces, and these empty spaces were named as cells by the scientist, and the name cells have been derived from a word called as cellulae. Cellule means hollow spaces or hollow compartments. But actually here cell is not an empty space, but it's a misnomer, because when he had observed for the first time, so he had seen that some empty space are there, those are called as cells. But actually what he had observed is the wall which is surrounding the cell. This is a cell wall. This was a structure that was been separating one cell from the other cell, or one empty space from the other empty cell. One empty space from the other empty space, and actually here this empty space is formed because of the removal or loss of protoplasm from the cell. When the protoplasm have been lost, so that space become empty. That was the structure that was identified or observed by the Robert Hooke scientist. Then here this have been written in a book called as Micrographia. This discovery related aspects were written in a book called as Micrographia book, that was written by Robert Hooke. Then next discovery related to the cells is a Leeuwenhoek scientist. So he is the one who discovered the cell in living condition. Here whatever the cell that was discovered by Robert Hooke was a dead cell, but for the first time living cell was discovered and identified by Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So here which type of living cells have been identified? So those were identified by the scientist or bacteria, or discovered or studied by the scientists or bacteria, protozoans and red blood cells. So these are the cells in living condition have been discovered and identified by the scientist. And when we are saying the living condition, the cells contains the protoplasm. So now the protoplasm are jelly like substance. He said that some jelly like substance is present inside the cell. So that condition is called as a living condition of the cell. Then Robert Brown. So next discovery related to the cell is discovery of a spherical shaped, darkly stained structure present inside the jelly like substance. So this spherical shaped darkly stained structure is called as a nucleus. So this structure nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown scientist. Then here we are saying that some jelly like substance is present inside the cell. So this was discovered by Dujardin. Dujardin is a scientist who said that inside the cell some jelly like substance is present, and this jelly like substance was named as sarcode by Dujardin. But later the name sarcode was changed to protoplasm by Purkinje scientist. He had renamed sarcode as protoplasm. Then Corti and Fontana. So they are scientists who discovered the spherical shaped structure present inside the nucleus called as nucleolus. Likewise, some discoveries related to the primary description of the cell and its cell structures.